brakes can cause bearing failure. Easy lube causes it, standard grease causes it, old races or new races, old bearings, new bearings, those cause a problem. When did you lose your first bearing? Was it in August like a lot of them? Why is that? Why does it seem like we see all the bearing failure repairs in the hot summer months, especially down here in the south? We're gonna look into it, we're gonna see why that is and see if there's a secret to it and maybe if there's a way that we can just prevent it. As we can see here, we did get our money's worth out of this one. This is a fine specimen of lack of maintenance, I would say. There is no saving this one. I don't care if you got emery cloth that's 2 grit, there's no coming back. This is catastrophic failure. It's gonna go in the scrap pile. If you were on the side of the road and this happened, bearing is not what you're gonna need. Probably gonna need to find you an extra axle unless you carry one with you. So what causes stuff like this, especially in our hotter months? Well, the main thing that gets blamed that we hear from commenters, from just in general, is bearings made in China. And this is a China bearing, which is what would have came on this axle. I believe this axle was produced around 1819, so it's been in service for a little while. Don't have any of the records if it's ever had any maintenance done. If it did, when that maintenance was done, what intervals, don't have any history on that. The only thing we know now that this axle is history, it's become a piece of history, it's gonna go in a scrap yard. Do China bearings really cause this? We're gonna talk about that. Another thing that happens that we see, well, easy lube causes it, standard grease causes it, neither one of them cause it. There's a debate back and forth. We've done videos on there, lots of opinions and emotions on that. Let's don't get emotional today. Let's stay on track. Let's just focus on maintenance, no emotion today. So let's get our non-emotional faces. We good? Let's do that today. Races, hot topic. Do we replace the race? I've had some people say that, we always use new bearings and our old races can make it 1,000,000 miles. Well, good for you, buckaroo. I'm not gonna try that for the cost of a race and no more than it takes to put one in there. I'm gonna pair these bad boys together. If I'm replacing one, I'm replacing both. Unless I'm in the middle of the pasture and I just need to get a few more feet to the barn, then I'm gonna do whatever I need to do to get to the barn, to get out of the sunshine, to fix it. Old races or new races, old bearings, new bearings, those cause a problem. They can, but they're still not the main cause. Now let's talk about lubrication. Here's another one where you get emotions. Remember, unemotional face, we're just talking about lubrication, grease versus oil. Well, someone put grease in my oil bath hub. Can you do that? Some say you can't, some say you can. It's a huge debate. Can you swap back and forth? You can convert an oil bath over to grease, but you usually cannot convert a grease over to oil unless you're doing a complete hub change and seal change, and you can make that work. Maybe possible. You could cause some issue there. You could cause a loss if you do it incorrectly, but is it these that really cause the issue? Is it grease? Is it brand of grease? We use the Mystic JT6. I've used several other brands as well. We recommend other brands. Lucas is good, Lubriplate's good. Same way with our 80/90 gear oil. Now, some axle recommendations may recommend a different weight rating on that, depending on maybe what part of the country you're in. So be sure to check the owner's manual out on that. But does grease cause it? Well, I can tell you, lack of grease can cause this. But here's another one: too much grease can cause it too. Lack of oil can cause it, and too much oil can cause it too. So is that really the main problem? When it comes to trailers, retrofitting one, adding accessories, that can be fun. Maybe you have a new trailer or an existing trailer like this cargo here that you just need to make your own. Maybe you need some extra tie downs, maybe you need a spare tire mount, lighting, just the things you need in order to make it better serve you and just have a more enjoyable experience. Or maybe you have a trailer like this that maybe what you're gonna have to do to it's not gonna be so much fun as it is gonna be some work. Maybe you've worked the dog out of it like we do. I mean, after all, trailers are meant to be used. Maybe you haven't been on a proper maintenance schedule, you've procrastinated, you've put it off like we all do at times, and you're just gonna have to give it a little bit of everything. This one needs it all. It needs dust caps, bearings, races, full suspension from springs to shackle straps to bolts to equalizers, U-bolts, and it needs a full rewire all the way from the 7-way plug to the stop turn tails. It needs everything in between that, breakaway battery kit. It needs it all. Once you get that done, it's gonna be ready to roll, but you have to source those parts. And when it comes to online, it can be a challenge and just honestly aggravating, but that's where the sponsor of today's video comes in, eTrailer.com. They're gonna be able to help you out with that. They keep anything you would need to get this thing back up and rolling. If you're needing to do a repair, if you got a breakdown, or you're just doing your annual maintenance, Visit eTrailer.com to get all those things you need so you can keep your trailer moving. Or maybe you are working on an existing trailer, you just need to retrofit it, you need to add some accessories just so you have a better time with it. Be sure to check them out for that, for accessories. They also have stuff for your tow vehicle. Maybe you need a better hitch, weight distribution, something along those lines, or maybe it's something for your RV. Be sure just to spend a little time, go look at eTrailer.com. They probably even have something you don't know you need yet. Just get it ordered, get you going, keep your trailer rolling, and just have a great experience. Grease seals. They get a bad rap. You know, it was my grease seal's fault that all my grease leaked out. This is really not so much to keep the grease in as it is to keep crap out. To keep water from coming in, to keep dust, other contaminants. Same thing as the dust cap. It's really there to keep elements out, not necessarily to keep the grease in. Now, if you're running an oil cap or an oil seal, this is made to keep your lubrication in. So if you've got a defective oil cap or a defective inner oil seal and you're running oil in there, it's gonna cause that to fail. If you have a cracked cap or a leaking oil seal and your oil leaks out, you have very little time, very few miles before you're gonna have catastrophic failure. So that can be a cause. They make all different kinds of oil caps today. You know, used to plastic was all we can get, but you can get several different manufacturers that make them in cast aluminum. That's a much better cap that's less likely to get dinged by the tire store, or if you're changing a tire and get cracked and then you lose it when you're going down the highway at highway speeds, and all heck breaks loose. Here's another one. Brakes cause wheel bearing failure. If you've never notice that, or you don't know that, watch some of our other videos, and we'll leave a link to some videos that go more in depth to some of the topics we're talking about today. But brakes can cause bearing failure. I'm gonna go grab the magnet that come off this one. It's pretty amazing looking. I don't know if that caused the failure or if the bearing caused the failure. I just know we had a failure, so I'm gonna go grab that and I'll be right back. Brake magnets can cause the issue. If your brake magnet looks like this, you may be broke down. You likely be broke down. Now, whether or not that's what caused this or that caused this to catch on fire, who knows, but one of the two are together. But if your brake magnet looks like that, there's no reason to test it. You're going to need to replace likely your whole axle. If you let it go long enough, you may be replacing your whole trailer when it catches on fire. So I would recommend not getting to this stage in your brake magnet journey. Brake controllers can cause the issue. The guy or gal sitting in the front seat of the pickup can cause the issue from over braking. There's a ton of variables that can cause catastrophic failure. A lot of times it gets blamed on the heat. I will say this, we do see more repairs during the hotter months than maybe during the cooler months. And it's not necessarily the heat, in my opinion. Well, the heat can cause things to break down. You know, we start having air conditioning troubles in our vehicles, overheating issues, hydraulic issues, stuff like that. But a lot of it can be prevented. So whether it's lack of lubrication, improper lubrication, lack of brake adjustment, all the things, and we're gonna leave videos linked to all these things in order to help you so you don't get to this point. Because this point here can be expensive, and it's not even really an expense issue. If you were traveling somewhere and you have this issue, you may not can readily find this axle available, and you may be shut down. If you had to order this axle today, most manufacturers are 4 weeks plus to get a replacement axle. So say you're on a road trip. I just came back from a road trip over a couple of thousand miles. I made sure my trailer was tip top from one to the other, and I still had an issue, still had a flat tire, but I did have a spare tire to put on that so I could get on home. That's kind of what prompted this video, is all the breakdowns we've seen. I don't know how, I lost count of how many trailer breakdowns we've seen going and coming on our trip. Like I said, over a couple thousand miles, lots of breakdowns, several automobile breakdowns, and most of them were newer style vehicles on the breakdowns. Not sure what the issue was there, but generally breakdowns are associated with lack of maintenance. So now I'm going to give you the secret why we see more of them in August, more of them in the hot months. This is the secret, and this is the key to how I prevent it and how you prevent it. What is on this sheet of paper causes all this stuff here together. Now, while some of this goes along with it, it's all this right here. It's the calendar. It's your schedule. Now, you know as well as I do, we schedule everything today. We have a personal computer in our hip pocket, front pocket, purse, shirt pocket, whatever it is where you choose to keep your personal device. It has calendars, it has schedules. We schedule everything today. But many times from our automobiles that we're doing the towing with to our vehicles that are being towed, we just don't schedule the maintenance. So I picked August 1996 because I'm pretty sure from some of the trailers I've seen this year, that's the last time any maintenance was done. That was a good year. Don't remember what I was doing in 96, but I remember I was thinner. The humidity didn't get to me as bad as it does today. So if it's been since August 1996, since you've done any maintenance, that is the problem. It's not that it's August, it's not that it's July, it's not that it's hot outside, it's because of all of the rest of the months within the 12-month calendar that we've done lack of maintenance, from bearing packs to brake adjustments to, you know, making sure that we don't have any in play in our bearing setups, tire pressures. All those can attribute to catastrophic bearing loss. Most bearing manufacturers recommend every 12,000 miles or annually. Now I know that brings up an argument. I don't pack my bearings every 15 years, and that's fine if that's you, but as a general rule of thumb, you can sit here and argue that we don't have to pack bearings. I pack them when I want. I do all the things. I do this, do that. I'm not following any schedule. That's fine. That is your choice, and I fully support that choice for you to be broke down on the side of the road when I pass you. But if you want to lessen your chances of catastrophic failure and issues on the side of the road, just get yourself on a maintenance schedule. If your driving habits and maybe where you're at in the country, you can stretch that out, then that's a choice you're gonna have to make. I'm just gonna tell you from what I see, what manufacturers say. There's some that claim, well, they just want you to do that so they can get money and they can do this and that. You know, why don't they go to seal bearings? I'm not gonna get into that debate. One day we will, when I wanna get all of our emotions up. Remember, today we're not emotional, we're very monotone. So look into doing bearing maintenance, doing your bearing packs, brake adjustments. If you learn how to do it yourself, which we have some great videos on that, I'm not trying to sell you any maintenance. If you want to work on your own stuff, that is great. You may be in another part of the country, I'm not gonna be able to help you, but if you can do your own maintenance, it will save you some money. If you learn how to do all of these things, and most of them you should know how to do, even if you don't perform on a regular basis, just for a breakdown scenario, it is very inexpensive. Some of this stuff, if you go into a shop, it's not crazy money either unless you get to this point. So I'm just gonna try to encourage you to look at your maintenance schedules. It's easy to get busy in the summer. We go on those trips, we come back from those trips. I'm gonna tell you, there was 1 or 2 units that came from the same area I was in that are here right now that are in pretty bad shape. They have some catastrophic failure on them, and it's gonna be costly. Some may have been prevented. Most of the time it can be prevented. So if nothing else, just at least do a walk around on your unit. Maybe you don't want to do any of this yourself, but you know, that way you at least can maybe get you a mechanic when you get to where you're going, a field mechanic or a regular mechanic, wherever it is that you live. Just schedule maintenance. It will make your tow a lot better. It will make your, if you're like me, if you have a little anxiety when you're traveling, it may make your peace of mind. I'm gonna tell you some of the units I seen towing down the road, I had to get around them because it made my anxiety bad. They're hauling a full-size 2-seat big old buggy on a single axle trailer, and all of the wheels look like they're ready to go to the racetrack because they're all towed in at the top. I'm getting around that bad boy because I don't want him to blow up all over the road and have to drive through it like Days of Thunder. So just do your maintenance, get on the schedule, and remember, tighten the dang lug nuts.